At 6 weeks into the Vendée Globe, with the leading duo Yoann Richomme, PAPREC ARKEA, and Charlie Dalin, MACIF Santé Prévoyance, set to round Cape Horn late tomorrow, fatigue is the constant, gnawing, universal presence. By now the underlying tiredness is never relieved by any number of naps chained together, or indeed a longer sleep or two, were the weather to permit. The leaders have been blessed with a Pacific which has lived up to its name in terms of weather systems and sea states. In their head-to-head tussle, adrenaline fuels their hard-driving attack. That said, they will look forwards to the ultimate deliverance into the Atlantic and out of the Big South like their best-ever Christmas present. And at current speeds it seems certain that the leader will smash Armel Le Clerk's 2016 record to Cape Horn, set at 47 days and 34 minutes, when he led Alex Thomson round by 23 hours and 8 minutes. Richomme today is 1,200 miles or so ahead of Le Clerk's pace, and one or other of the flying duo seems set to also set a new mark for the Pacific, Tasmania to Cape Horn, set by François Gabart in 2012, at 14 days 11 hours 8 minutes when he rounded just 65 minutes ahead of Armel Le Clerk during a duel very similar to that of Dalin and Richomme. Their pursuers, meanwhile, hope to narrowly avoid a tropical depression but will almost certainly a big, rough and unruly sea for their rounding on 26th and the 27th of December. In third, Seb Simon, on Groupe du Broye, some 300 miles behind the leaders, spoke of the tiredness and fatigue. "I'm glad I stopped jibing along the Antarctic exclusion zone. It was a real pain. Now, I'm tackling a long 1,400-mile route to Cape Horn. I can't wait to round it, because rounding it means the end of the Southern Ocean. It also means a great Christmas present and a new race," sums up Simon. He has to work extra hard as he struggles on port tack due to his missing starboard foil. He is expected to round December 24th in the middle of the afternoon, half a day or so hours after Richomme and Dalin, MACIF Santé Prévoyance, who should round between 2200 hours Monday night and 0100 hours UTC Tuesday morning. It's of course a bit frustrating to see the two friends managing to escape, but unfortunately it's a battle that I can't play. The lead that I have over the others should, in any case I hope, allow me to cross the Horn still on the podium, adds Simon, who manages to maintain an average of 18 knots, so largely maintaining his delta to the two leaders. "I am convinced that I will attack the ascent of the Atlantic in good conditions to fight again at 100% of my potential. In the meantime, I am hanging on. I am also trying to rest because I have a big sleep deficit," affirmed the skipper of Groupe du Broye. With the incursion of fatigue, actions become more of an automatism. With the passage of time, everything becomes mechanical, commented Sam Davies, Initiative's who is also beginning to feel the effect of, like others, using her legs so little. "In the boat, you are never standing up because it is so dangerous," recalled the British sailor. Aboard IMOCAS in the Big South, each movement is no more than a few wobbly steps in a cramped cockpit or constant clinging on to keep one's balance on a pitching deck. "For my part, I would speak more of wear and tear than fatigue," highlighted Nicholas Lundven, Holcim, PRB, who had to draw on his energy reserves to repair a mainsail batten car yesterday, a damage which had only just occurred less than a couple of hours earlier to his companion de route for Jeremie Charles. Lundven and his group, from 4th place Thomas Ruyant, vulnerable, to 10th Sam Goodchild, vulnerable, have their eyes on a nasty subtropical low which is arriving from the north, which should pass ahead of them, but certainly for Lundven and Ruyant and others nearer the front of this group it will be a big 6 or 7 meter leftover, messy crossed swell, which will threaten them and their boats more than the strong winds. "The road promises to be really bumpy," admitted Lundven, who has been dealing with very unstable conditions. "It's absolutely crazy. The average is probably 16 knots and gusts at 35, he lamented. Further back in the fleet it is the lack of wind which is causing most frustration, while some of their opponents have managed to escape. The gateway to the east closed in front of us last night, by something like 11 miles, and these 11 miles will soon turn into 500 or even 1,000 compared to Jean Le Cam, tout commence en Finistère, Armelux, or Isabelle Jost, MACSF, who managed to escape from the ridge, rued Benjamin Foray today.
It's hailing. Very unstable and gusty. Impressive sea state, sir. Merry Christmas! It's snowing. We have white Christmas here. Look. It's the first time I'm putting a sail up in the snow on this boat. This big cloud here. I tried to get away from it, but it caught me up. First snow in a while for me. All right, I better get going. Put the sail up. Ciao. Wow, look at this snow. Such dense snowfall. This gives me the Christmas feeling. White Christmas. I need to change my playlist. You hear this? It's the hail.
Hello, so it's day 6 now on the slow boat to Melbourne. We've travelled 280 miles since dismasting and I'm going to break the 500 mile barrier today. So currently there's 506 miles to Melbourne. The wind has died down overnight. You can see actually the sea state's really died down behind me as well. And it's slowly clocked round onto the beam. So we've got that same old problem of trying desperately not to be pushed to the east of the rum line, the straight line between us and Melbourne. And at the moment it's okay. So I'm not going massively fast. But what this trysail is doing is pushing the back of the boat away from the wind enough so that I'm not being pushed too far to the east, and we're just about holding our ground. I'm pretty happy with the progress we made yesterday. It actually really felt great to get moving. And last night, kind of for the first time, I was able just to sit on deck and chill for a bit. And what was incredible about that was I just heard this little plop next to the boat, and I thought, what's that? And then again, and this seal, a tiny little seal, I mean, it looks like a juvenile to me, but I don't know anything about these things, came next to the boat and was playing with the boat for half an hour. It was just magical, absolutely magical, and I could have sat for hours and watched it, and I did talk to it a lot. It just looked like it was having a lot of fun. It's so mad to be, I didn't even know that seals just hung out in the middle of the ocean like that. I kind of thought they were next to the edges, never imagined that they were in the middle. So that was quite special. And then this morning, I've been generally sleeping through the night, which is an unusual thing to do when you're alone on a boat. You normally sleep for very short periods of time, but you know, there's nothing really that can happen to me out in the middle of the ocean. So I've been sleeping for longer periods. And this morning I woke up and I looked out of the cabin windows on the starboard side, and there was an orange light coming through, and I got up and went out to see the most amazing sunrise, just spectacular. And I guess it's just a reminder that all of the rubbish things that have happened in the last week or so, just what an utter privilege it is to still be out here and see these things and experience these things. You know, I'm one of the few humans on the planet that gets to see this, and I do feel lucky. Despite everything, I do feel lucky. I just downloaded the latest weather forecast, and it's not full of joy. The major thing is that at the moment, in a week's time on the 27th, the forecast is showing a huge depression coming straight across my path, and I mean huge. This is my big concern in the next week. It's still 7 days away. It's forecast for the 27th, which is the day after the Sydney-Hobart starts. And it's a depression that, if we go back, you can see it forms very, very quickly here, and then moves off to the east, and it's windy. I mean, really windy. So here, this is 67 knots on the grid file there. Here that's 56. So all around the centre of this depression, it is unbelievably windy. So for me, I don't want to be anywhere near that. I can pretty much draw a line, I guess, from here, let's say from here down to there. I don't want to be anywhere to the east of that line. And that's something definitely I need to think about over the next few days. It's just cut to now. We can see that we're kind of on the edge of a lighter band of breeze. but if we forward, the breeze is going to get stronger. And then look, here's another front here. So we've got that rotation and then the downwind, which is great. So tomorrow, by this evening and tomorrow, I've got some really good ability to make ground. But in light of what we've just seen, I won't be going straight down the line to Melbourne. I'm actually going to be sailing north. So it's not the best forecast, but that's kind of the nature of it. You know, we don't get to pick the weather. We just have to work out how we're going to deal with it. And it's interesting. It's actually interesting for me because I've gone from being in a boat where I can position myself ahead of weather systems. You know, I'm moving so fast that I can actively get out of the way and use them to my advantage. And so, you know, when the mast was up, I was actively positioning myself ahead of these weather systems to take advantage of the wind and the flat water and move with them through the ocean. And now I've gone to completely the opposite end of the spectrum, where I am totally at the mercy of what comes. I cannot get out of the way. I just need to try and position myself as well as possible and then be ready to deal with it when it arrives. I did make a deal with myself on about day 2 that I wasn't going to just kind of fester away. I think it would be really easy with this kind of amount of time and this slow progress, and it would be really easy just to sit around and just let life happen to you. But I kind of made a deal with myself that I was going to try and do something every day to make my situation better. And I've been quite busy with sail making and setting up the rig in the last couple of days. But I was thinking about what I could do now. I think the sails are as good as I'm going to get them. What could I do now to make a difference? And I've been having waves breaking into the back of the boat a lot. And that is because there's still a lot of weight in the back of the boat. And now we need the weight in the bow. I think that will help a lot with making progress. So my job today is going to be to move all of the sensible weight that I can up into the bow. That's going to be quite a workout, and hopefully that will make life easier with the waves coming into the cockpit and might actually help us again with kind of making ground to windward. I'm going to start off with my big A2 spinnaker, which is all the way down that side. It is too heavy for me to just lift and pull, so I'm going to use a block and tackle to drag it out. Done. So the next thing is to remove everything from the port tunnel. So that's all the stacking bags, and I'll put the ones that I don't need forward. And then in the back of there as well are the anchors, which are sealed in position for racing. I can unseal them now and move them, probably not right into the bow because I don't want them to fall around, but I can certainly move them further forwards in the boat. been working, it's really blown up out here. The waves are getting quite big, definitely over 3 meters. But we're sailing along really well, and I'm really happy with the course too. We're averaging close to 5 knots. It actually feels like the boat's sailing, which is amazing, and the motion is definitely better now I've put some weight forward. But sometimes the waves are breaking just kind of on the boat or next to the boat. There's a nasty kind of dump, and I'm just keeping an eye on everything. I think the breeze is probably up to 27, 28 knots now, and I just don't want to overload the rig, so I'm just going to do a check now. So look, can you see this wave here? We're going to land badly off that one. And then look, this one behind me is pretty big. It's only going to build as well. It's going to get windier overnight, so I do need to be a little bit sensible about how long I keep that trysail up for. The problem is I know the minute I take it down, I'm going to start going east again. But I'm pretty happy with this setup. One more thing to do, so this sail here, I'm going to put that in the bow too. And then I think that's my work for the day done. I can see that a few of you have asked how I actually set the jury rig up in the first place. And I did take some videos, a few videos, while I was actually sorting the mess out, dismasting. A little bit emotional. So one of the other things I'm going to do while I've got time today is just kind of put together a bit of a compilation of that footage and an in-depth explanation of how I've actually set the jury rig up, and I'm aiming to share that with you tomorrow.
Cette voile est de nouveau opérationnelle, donc je suis heureux de vous annoncer que MACIF Santé Prévoyance est de retour à 100% de son potentiel. Vous entendez bien? À 100% de son potentiel. Hello, c'est Charlie de MACIF Santé Prévoyance. Je suis en train de passer entre l'île sud de la Nouvelle-Zélande et une petite île qui s'appelle Auckland. Et en zoomant, j'ai découvert quelque chose. Au sud de moi, il y a une île qui s'appelle l'île d'Auckland et il y a un îlot qui s'appelle l'île de la déception. Voilà, tout simplement. L'île de la déception avec sa fameuse baie des Badis. Voilà, grosse ambiance sur l'île d'Auckland. La personne en charge ne devait pas être en forme ce jour-là. Comment on va l'appeler cette île? Bah, l'île de la déception, ouais, très bien. Bon, blague à part, tout va bien à bord. Je suis en train de me faire attraper par le front et je vais bientôt pouvoir empanner et faire route vers le sud-est. Le désert liquide sur ce Vendée Globe avec ses dunes d'eau à perte de vue et sur des milliers de kilomètres. On y est dans le Grand Pacifique. Alors ça y est, on vient de franchir l'anté-méridien. Pour moi c'est ça vraiment qui symbolise la mi-parcours, parce qu'on va commencer à partir de maintenant à resynchroniser les fuseaux horaires sur les fuseaux horaires de la France. Ça c'est ça la bonne nouvelle du jour. Et puis concernant les deux loustiques derrière, ça continue à revenir. Ils ont un angle et une force de vent un peu plus favorable. Donc c'est un peu frustrant, mais bon, c'est comme ça. J'ai du vent plus à droite et moins fort devant. C'est comme ça. Alors voilà, je fais des pointes à 31,2 là. Ok. regardez qui est là. Yoann Richomme himself. Arkea PAPREC. Alors, départ à bord. On est passé. Charlie Dalin. Bon, la cheminée est allumée sur l'IMOCA MACIF Santé Prévoyance. Petite flambée du soir. C'est chauffage au gaz sur le bateau. J'ai prévu une cartouche spéciale pour le sud. Et bah, c'est le moment de l'utiliser là parce qu'il fait 6 degrés dans le bateau là. C'est vraiment pas chaud. Et du côté de la Nouvelle-Zélande, j'ai eu un petit souci avec une voile. Voilà, j'ai dû la réparer. Ça m'a mis 36 heures à le faire. C'était un peu compliqué là de travailler dans la soute à voile avec le bateau qui a des pointes à 32. Donc j'avais mon casque et tout. C'était un peu... il m'a mis 36 heures de job, 36 heures de boulot assez acharné pour réussir à réparer, mais ça y est. Voilà, cette voile est de nouveau opérationnelle, donc je suis heureux de vous annoncer que MACIF Santé Prévoyance est de retour à 100% de son potentiel. Vous entendez bien? À 100% de son potentiel.
Ouais, le Pacifique, je vais reprendre un mot de Thomas Coville qui appelle ça l'océan Pacifique, il appelle ça l'océan papier de verre, c'est-à-dire qu'il est long, ça use, il arrive après une descente de l'Atlantique et de l'océan Indien, donc c'est une couche supplémentaire, c'est là que le bateau va descendre le plus sud pour passer le Horn, donc des conditions compliquées, peut-être moins pourries que l'océan Indien, plus organisées, mais il peut y avoir des vents violents, des dépressions violentes, et surtout c'est long, c'est loin de toute terre, donc une espèce de perte dans l'immensité sauvage de l'océan qui à cet endroit-là n'est pas forcément pacifique, quoi.
Allez, à plus.
Bon, la deuxième partie du Pacifique est pas très engageante, pas mal de vent fort, une situation météo complexe à lire, une mer dure, courte, croisée, vraiment pas facile de faire avancer le bateau. Et la situation à venir, ouais, je me creuse quand même pas mal la tête. On a des petites dépressions là qui se creusent très vite sur notre chemin. Voilà, donc pas évident de savoir quelle est la bonne route. À la fois safe et rapide. Ouais, pas facile là, la fin du sud. C'est quand même bien copieux, il fait froid. Voilà. Et ouais, le Horn, bah, ouais, je pense d'ici 5-6 jours, plus, une semaine. Voilà, ça va dépendre de comment on arrive à avancer et se positionner par rapport au boss qu'il y a sur la route. Voilà, pas évident, j'essaie de vous montrer les conditions demain. Là, la mer est quand même bien chaotique. C'est pas gros, mais c'est court et croisé, quoi. Donc un peu casse-bateau, quoi. Allez, à plus.
Et MACSF est bel et bien rentré dans l'océan Pacifique. Et il est beaucoup plus calme que l'océan Indien. N'empêche qu'il fait tout gris et qu'il commence à faire sérieusement froid. Hier, c'était une bonne journée. Il n'y a pas eu de vent, mais j'en ai profité pour faire plein de bricolage à bord, pour assécher le bateau, pour l'inspecter. Et je croise les doigts, mais normalement tout va bien à bord. C'est qu'il y a encore de la route, presque la moitié du chemin encore à parcourir. Bonne journée!
Alors moi c'est beau. C'est impressionnant. J'avais 15 nœuds tout à l'heure et là ce gros grain est arrivé. Il y en a 35. Énorme refus. Impressionnant.